Hi.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Andrea and I are moderating today as we prepare for our new format next week, and all the staff will be practicing producing and moderating, etc. So I'm so glad to have her with us. Give me a second while I welcome our Spanish-speaking neighbors. Buenas tardes, gracias por estar con nosotros hoy día. Como ven, Andrea está conmigo hoy. Muy contenta de que en la semana que viene vamos a empezar nuestro nuevo formato del foro, que incluye el otro personal haciendo producción, estando aquí encabezando el foro, y por eso Andrea está con nosotros hoy practicando. Si quieren acceso al programa, como siempre, marquen el número que aparece en la pantalla, que es 646-749-3122. Cuando le contestan su llamada, compartan el código, que es 779-328-221. And I'm going to hand it over to Andrea. We're going to be sharing on and off today.
Yes, and I'm so thankful I get to have you as my co-navigator today as I learn how to do moderation. Southside Organizing Center, I've been here a year now. It's always been a place of learning and professional development. And as a leadership coordinator for SOC, I'm very lucky I get to be a part of these avenues and how we actually help our residents empower themselves as well. Again, I'm Andrea Rodriguez, leadership coordinator, also a resident of the Polonia South of the Tracks neighborhood. Thank you for joining us today for 3 o'clock with SOC. I do want you to know that we have an incredible team supporting this. Not only Tammy and I are on the forum team, but we also have Gabe Charles, Marlene Zaran, Marisol Diaz, and then a lot of incredible organizers that we're going to meet today, including our Taylor Herrada, who we'll be talking to later in the show. In addition to our full team here today supporting our show, you can also find us on Instagram, or you can reach out to us at soc@socmilwaukee.org. We have been with you since day one on this quarantine. It's very, we're at a hot spot right now in 53215, where a lot of our staff live. However, we are here, we are available. You can call us, you can email us, you can message us on any of our social media, and we will be there for you. Right now, I'm not wearing a mask. All of our team, we're working virtually to stay safe and still serve our public. So I'm not wearing the mask, but if I'm ever out, you will always see me wearing my mask. We are, supporting 16th Street Clinic and a Mask Up Challenge, and it's very, very important right now that we are modeling what safety really looks like for our community. So I'm excited for that. Also, I'd like to reach out to our faithful viewers today. If you get a chance to say in the comments hello to us, please do. We love hearing from you. We want to check in with everyone. We have a lot of great community organizers, our youth that are doing care calls regularly, but we want to see you active on the show. So give a shout out and say hi to us and ask any questions you have. And before I pass it on to the next part of the guest, the next guest, I do want to say as a disclaimer, all views and opinions shared on today's show do not necessarily reflect those of SOC. We are an organization that's here for all people. We make sure that we are very mindful that we represent everyone fairly. However, you might hear some opinions that feel a certain way, and we like to stay neutral in general, just to make sure we're accessible to our viewers. And then I'll leave it to you, Tammy, then.
Thank you, Andrea. We're going to move on to our critical update segment. And as I've shared earlier last week and this week, we're getting prepared for our new format. And so what we're doing this week is every day of the week, you're going to meet the team that's going to be producing and hosting and interviewing and interfacing with you. And we've spread the load so that we can continue the forum. And so on Monday, we met the civic engagement team. And today we're going to meet our youth coordinator. Tomorrow, we're going to have our all Spanish forum, but you get to talk to me. You can ask me questions, talk about my role as the executive director. I'll talk about my role as the lead organizer on Friday. And then we'll have our infrastructure staff with us tomorrow. Marisol Diaz, our communications manager, Edith, Chavez, our grants and compliance coordinator, Julia Hernandez, our human resource coordinator. Thursday, you get to spend the day with Marlene. And then on Friday, we'll be bringing our organizing and leadership team. So you get to know us a little better. Like I said, I'm the lead organizer. And then we have Travis, Hope, and Maria Perea, who are organizers. And we have Andrea, who's helping me co-host or co-moderate today. And she'll be on as our leadership coordinator. That's what's coming up in the week. But what I'm really excited about is it's the 4-day countdown to our 100th episode of the forum, if you can believe that. And so on Tuesday, August 25th, right at the same time, 3 o'clock with SOC, we're having a Zoom fiesta. And so we will have staff and hopefully some board and our previous featured guests. We hope to have some of those. And most importantly, we have invited on you all, our viewers, including some of our super fans. And we hope that you will join us because this is the first time you'll be on the screen and you can talk. And I'm super looking forward to that. Let me say some hellos. Hola, Diana. Diana, I hope you're going to be with us on Tuesday. I hope you registered. I hope to see you there. Trine. Hola, Julio. Good to meet you. We haven't said hello to you yet, I believe, on the forum. So thank you for being with us. Eloina, I hope we see you at the party. Charlie, I hope we see you at the party. Also, the first 100 folks who register, who live within our district, get a commemorative face mask. So you don't want to miss that. So please do register. It's really, Diana dice, I registered, but I'm very camera shy. Mira, Diana, even if you just come on and wave, I'll be happy. But it would be good to hear your voice since you've been with us so faithfully. Hola, Maria. I hope to see you Tuesday. Please register. You have all been a part of this journey to make sure our Southsiders and the rest of the community get the latest information in these challenging times. Because we couldn't do our regular face-to-face relationship building and being with you all, we had to switch gears, and going digital meant producing this forum 5 days a week. And I think we're the only organization doing that. And that was really important because there was and continues to be such a huge load of information, and it's always changing, whether it's about issues in the community, whether it's about the elections, the census, and the pandemic. And so this was our vehicle of choice to do the best we could at times when we think that you needed us the most. So let's celebrate that. You're a part of making that happen. So we hope to see you there. See anybody else? No. With that, we want to make sure that you know that we have a youth organizers program, and we're so proud of it. And it's probably everyone's pet program that we do, because who doesn't like seeing youth empowered and in leadership? And so I would say it surely gets our affections at the agency. So I want to invite on our youth coordinator, Taylor Herrada.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Tammy. Thank you
Hola,
for having me.
Taylor. Of course. Listen, I know the summer came upon us quickly, and you were full-time working with the youth. And so we had to wait a little bit till you were available to come on. But we appreciate you, and we're glad we're here. Taylor, we want folks to get to know us a little better, because usually we get to share that as we're in relationship with them. And so I want folks to get a chance to get to know you, your connection to the South Side, when you got passionate about social justice, and then we'll dig into, like I said, I think the program that we all have our heart set on the most, which is the youth program. So Taylor, give us a sense of what kind of work and schooling have you been involved in? Like, tell folks a little bit about your background and community work too.
Yeah, absolutely. So as I mentioned, my name is Taylor, Taylor Herrada. I, for the most part, grew up on the south side of Milwaukee. I went to school off of 14th and Scott. I went to an all-girl middle school on the south side. It was 2 blocks away from where I grew up, which is on 12th and Scott. From there, of course, I went to UWM. I did not graduate. I decided that I was going to pursue my art. And from there, I've been pursuing my art. And so I'm a local artist from Milwaukee. I do photography, I do graphic design, and I do mural art. But aside from my art career, I'm very involved in social justice. And just a little bit about my background. I know a lot of you know my grandma, Carmen Cabrera. She is a pioneer in the south side of Milwaukee, a chingona at that. She is such a great icon, and definitely my inspiration and leading lady in my life. So she is the one that inspired me at a very, very, very young age to get involved in social justice. So I think my first memory would probably be at 9 years old, knowing that she was going to go work at the state capitol and she was going to fight for our rights, and she was very politically involved. So at a super young age, at 9 years old, I read about social justice and being involved in our community. And at that point, I would say that it wasn't a passion of mine. Of course, it was something that, hey, I'm being told to do this and I have no choice. So I would say I started off like in middle school doing canvassing, volunteering, aka my grandma was to do it, registering people to vote, and just really helping out my grandma a lot with anything that she had done. So throughout the years, her passion inspired me to want to take my own role in the community through my art. So I started off as a troop leader in Girl Scouts, really working with our youth on the south side of Milwaukee. So I want to thank my mom for that. She was a troop leader through UCC, really helping getting young girls and young women involved in their community. So I started out like that. And then I was volunteering throughout high school. Again, through my grandma, and a lot of the times I actually use it as an excuse to hang out with my then boyfriend, now husband, and we would volunteer together. So I'm like, you gotta come, my grandma needs volunteers. We gotta go deliver these packages to the elderly, or we'd go to the senior homes and host events for them. So really throughout my life, from 9 years old up until now, I've just been constantly being involved in the South Side community and being involved in social justice. But I would say the turning point in my life would be when we decided to focus on the youth through our art businesses, and we would hire youth and really mentor them and get them involved with what's happening in our city. But we would kind of do some art or art therapy with them. And then it wasn't until recently that I reached out to SOC to see, what positions were available. And of course, there was that youth coordinator position, which definitely correlated to what I was doing already in the South Side of Milwaukee, engaging our youth, really building up those skills, and continuing, my passion between the youth and engaging them and, growing as an artist.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, it's important. We can never underestimate the family legacies that exist in Milwaukee. And certainly your grandma has launched a very rooted and very far-reaching legacy. And I just want to share some things about her. just so that we can give her some shine and appreciation. She happens to be the vice president of the board of SOC, so we're super appreciative, and she's been with the organization through a lot of ups and downs and has stayed quite a while. I keep promising I'm gonna let them move on and get other members, and I haven't gotten to it, so I'm always in trouble about that. but I so appreciate them being here. But for folks who don't know all of Carmen's history or her impact, I always call her the baby of the Latino civil rights movement here, because she was a teenager when now this year the Roberto Hernandez Center is celebrating the 50th anniversary, which started with the takeover of Chapman Hall at UWM, demanding rights for Latino and Spanish speaking students. And she was a teenager doing those demonstrations. And so that's why I coined that term for her. But she has been a immovable force in civil rights, Latino rights, etc. And the other thing folks need to know is she was the first appointed Latino commissioner to the election commission here in Milwaukee. So she made history the year before last, I believe. And I think that her greatest social justice contribution here, all of those things. But I haven't met a person who understands or has done more in terms of civic engagement related to elections and voter rights, etc., as your grandmother. And so very appreciative for her for all of that, and so excited that the legacy continues with several family members, including yourself. So you had no choice but to grow like many of our children, but I'm so glad you're here. Taylor,
and I'm still helping her. Sometimes she'll call me and be like, can you go pick up these absentee ballots from the senior housing center? And I'm like, I'm on it. Let's go.
And I had the opportunity to see Taylor while she was growing up, because Carmen Cabrera is like extended family to me as well. She's a dear friend, and so I'm super proud of Taylor. Taylor, and so talk to us. It was all like the right timing that you joined us, and that your passions aligned to our needs for a youth coordinator. So let's talk about the youth program now. I'll do a little intro, and then I want you to talk about the types of things. How about let's name the youth? You'll be able to introduce them, but let's at least name the youth that were with us this summer, and then we can talk about what they did this summer and what we're working on now. And so you all know we're in 2020, so I want to say 26, 27. 3 years ago, we piloted a youth program in the summer with just 5 or 6 youth. And then the next summer, we doubled that number. And then we stayed with then we made the program not just summer, but year round. And then leads us to this summer. We were trying to double again, but the pandemic hit. And so we had our general, like, for the sake of argument, 10 spots. We wanted 20, and we got a couple of more youth. And so the youth we created a holistic program for youth to develop their personal, professional, academic, and community leadership. And that's the program that we piloted. And then they were also the youth in their legacies. They also were the first civic engagement formal strategy that we piloted. We sent youth to doors to do canvassing. That was a first for SOC, and it was youth who did it. So cool. And what did we find out? People were more ready to open the door to a youth than to an adult. And they cooperated more because they wanted the youth to achieve their goals. So they were more readily to listen to them and to participate, which leads us now then to this summer. So Taylor, give us a sense of, let's give a shout out to those youth, and then give us a sense of what they did this summer.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you mentioned, the Earn and Learn program is an entry-level program. So we had them doing a variety of things involved with civic engagement this summer, but I definitely want to shout out our youth who are probably watching this right now. So shout out to you, Ariana, Blakes, Isaiah Smith, Kimberly Ruiz, Jennifer Ruiz, Jasmine Ruiz, Leroy Hope, Angel Hope. And then we had some additional youth this summer, which is Lucas Salazar, Juan Samaripa, and our lead, Daniel Jimenez. So shout out to them. Hope I'm not missing anybody, but they were such great employees for us. And a few of them do continue to work year round. So just to highlight a few of the things that we worked on this summer, the pandemic hit. So the number one thing that we made sure that we did was reaching out to our residents on the South Side to ensure that their needs were met. So providing resources to them, letting them know that SOC is here for them. So we did some practice scripts, and then we did phone banking. So something new for this year that we did was virtual learning and virtual working, which I believe is an essential skill that our youth have learned this summer, and they're amazing. I mean, they learned how to do all this Google stuff far ahead of than what I could figure it out. And you know, their limit is they're unlimited with their skills.
Yeah,
and they're so knowledgeable and so great. So them being able to call our residents and really reach out to them. And a lot of times our residents aren't getting calls from people. I mean, their family members aren't reaching out to them. They might not have any friends. So a lot of the feedback that we got from our residents is that they were really happy to hear from our youth, and that, you know, they were taking the initiative to reach out to them and provide these resources, which was really great. Some of the other things that we worked on was making sure that everyone is knowledgeable about the census. So if you haven't filled out your census, please do that. And if you did fill out your census, drop a thumbs up emoji in the comments so that we know that you filled out your census. But they did, you know, reach out to our residents to also encourage them to fill out the census. And some feedback that they had received was that since they were youth, people were like, okay, well, since you are a young man, young woman calling me, that means that you truly want me to fill out the census. I guess I'll fill out the census. So they did get a lot of commitments just from them being youth organizers, you know, really truly caring about their community. Another thing that we worked on this summer was a campaign for to encourage people to fill out the census and to create some knowledge regarding the coronavirus. So they created a TikTok campaign, which is a new social media platform that not a lot of people know about, but the youth are on. So we had their youth really brainstorm what it is that they feel is missing from a youth aspect and a youth perspective. Which is giving me great insight to, you know, what their interests are, what they think is important, you know, why are they choosing to wear a mask, why they aren't choosing to wear a mask. And that way we can create artwork, flyers, videos to encourage people to fill out the census or to promote awareness regarding the coronavirus. So I know that some of those got played during the forum. So if you guys do want to see those, you can check out the past videos in our Facebook, in our SOC Facebook. You can see some of the youth videos on there. And I know they're also on YouTube as well. So we worked on a variety of things this summer. We had some guests from the city join us. And it was a really great time for them to do some virtual learning and build those skills.
So folks, if you have a youth and ages 14 through 18, we like to concentrate on making sure the 14-year-olds especially get picked up, because usually what happens in the city is there are these slots that are paid for youth to participate. And a lot of other organizations want to pick the older kids because they're more prepared. But we feel like we want to fill the gap for the younger youth, those that are not sought after as much. The other thing that we do different in our programs, some programs won't take siblings to work together, but to us, it makes a lot of sense for families that their kids are all going to the same location, dealing with the same people in the same program, because it's so hard to manage life that keeping siblings together, we can deal with the sibling challenges. We want to make sure families don't have, to do an impossible feat if they have 3 kids to go in 3 different things. And so those are the kinds of things that are important for you all to know. The other thing I want to make sure you heard, like, listen to what Taylor said. Like, these kids are working on the census, on helping people understand their voting rights in elections. They were doing care calls for the pandemic and getting people resources. Now they're doing a youth-to-youth intervention education program around COVID. And so imagine your youth, or if you're a youth, imagine you get all this experience. What does that look like for your college application? Whether you're going to go into entrepreneurship for yourself or for a job, like, all of that comes with the program. Taylor, are there any costs for the youth to participate in the program?
No, there are no costs, and they get paid.
And they get paid. And then usually we have, like, the regular youth positions. Depending on how many youth, we'll get a team lead for like every half dozen youth, and they get paid a little more. Remind folks what the youth are making. Do you remember?
The youth are making, I believe, $7.75, and then the leads make $10.25. Yeah.
And so that's a nice amount of experience paid for your youth to work on their personal leadership themselves. We've helped them. Taylor has helped them navigate their new academic world. We've helped parents and families navigate getting their kids back in school or switching, etc. They're working on their professional development. Imagine their portfolio when they said they were working virtually. They've been remote workers before adults. Like, that's huge. And then their community leadership. The other thing I'm so proud of, Taylor, for you and the rest of the team, is we are one of the few programs in the city of Milwaukee that continued after the pandemic. Many and most youth programs ended because they couldn't manage, or went on hold because they couldn't manage youth going virtually. But to us, especially with the population that we're serving, that income, just like it was for me when I was 14 and 15 and I was a youth worker in Milwaukee, like that income was critical for me. That paid for my school clothes and activities because we were so poor. We were not going to allow that not to happen. It wasn't easy, but I'm so proud, Taylor, that and Edith was instrumental in that as well. Edith was our former youth coordinator, and she's our grants and compliance person, getting those babies home with equipment, making sure they had internet access, and and supervising them via video. None of that is easy, but the youth were worth it. And so I'm so proud of you guys for that. Talk to us about what the fall may look like. I know we're waiting to get confirmation on whether we got paid slots for youth to continue year round, but give us a sense, or the folks a sense, of what they can if the pandemic continues. Otherwise, we're in person again. But if the pandemic continues, give them a sense of what that would look like for the youth.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you mentioned, we are doing a peer-to-peer project with the 16th Street Clinic. I'm not sure I'm supposed to say that, but yeah, so we are having a project where they are interviewing over 100 youth to get their feedback on what is going on with the coronavirus, seeing what resources they need. And they're going to put together a project based on the results and the information. So they came up with a questionnaire. What they'll be doing then is analyzing the data and then putting together a project regarding that information that they worked on. They'll also be running a weekly forum, so you guys will see them next Tuesday, so make sure that you check in. They are very excited to get started on a forum, so they'll be producing it. They will be the Tammy, they will be the me, and they will be bringing on their own guests. So they are currently working on really finding out what topics are important to the youth, what guests that they can bring on that are going to be youth focused. So whether that's a guidance counselor from university, they're kind of, putting those thoughts together, and they're going to be working on that. throughout the next couple months on their forum on Tuesday. So make sure that you do check back on Tuesdays if you want to see our lovely youth. They're so incredible. And I'm so excited for you guys to be able to see them and all the work that they do. We'll also be focusing on canvassing for the upcoming election. So most likely you will be getting a call from our youth. Please answer. They get really sad when they get sent to voicemail. So I'll talk to you on the phone regarding, the elections.
So folks, here's a great opportunity for your youth to get involved with some really important work and build up their resumes, whether that's for scholarship or for loans for their own business or for, work in regular employment, their careers. Where can folks contact you, Taylor, if they're interested in the program?
Yeah, absolutely. And I just wanted to touch base based on what you just said about building up their resume. This is such a phenomenal program for them to build up their resume. We actually worked on our resumes this summer, and they were just so shocked of like the things that you even put on a resume. They're like, wow, I didn't think that was important, or I didn't think that was an essential skill, or wow, I can't believe that I did this many community cleanups, or I called this many people. So it really is a holistic approach to employment. It isn't just a job where, hey, you're going to come here and you're going to make some calls. We really help them understand, the importance of the skills that they're doing, why it's important to make these calls to our community members, understanding civic engagement, understanding what an alderman does, so that they're set up for success. I mean, I think a lot of times we fail to educate our youth on things that we think that they're going to wait till they're older to grow up, or skills that they can get when they're older, but they're so powerful and they're so knowledgeable, and they're just like, their brain's a sponge where they're just absorbing all this information, and we just want to prepare them for the best with a holistic approach. So if you do want to get in contact me, you can email me. I do have a SOC email, which is taylor@socmilwaukee.org. You can email me at any time. I am available for any help or questions that you may have regarding youth. Or if you're just looking for programs, maybe you're not interested in the SOC program, but you're looking for other resources for your youth, feel free to reach out to me. I'm always keeping track of what events are going on in our city, what workshops are being hosted, so that we can, constantly prepare our youth. And yeah.
And then the last question that I have, and then we're going to answer Diana's, is can we, the youth who speak Spanish and their families who speak Spanish, do we serve folks in their language?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do serve people that speak Spanish. I speak Spanish. So we do work with people that speak Spanish and their families.
Deanna's asking, can students and youth with special needs apply? Is it an inclusive for people with different abilities? Yes, Deanna. As a matter of fact, in a former career, which is where I met one of the founders of ALAS, I worked on establishing a program, the first of its kind in Wisconsin, for kids with and without disabilities. And so I have some knowledge, but definitely we want to encourage all our youth to participate. And so contact Taylor, and we should be hearing soon if we have year-round funding for youth. And right now, everybody's digital. So in some ways, it's even more accessible for some people because of that. And so the program we set up was a technology lab. And so we have some experience there and some connections to make things happen. So por favor, please contact Taylor and we'll get rolling on that. Taylor, thank you for your time. Thank you for doing such a tremendous job with the youth. We're so excited and we'll look forward to their programming coming up.
Thank you so much, Tammy. Looking forward to seeing all of you again next Tuesday.
Be safe. All right, I'm going to hand over the program or bring on Andrea so we can bring you the rest of the segments. Continue to say hello. I see that V Carelli Romo, thumbs up for the census. Thank you for doing that. All right, Tere, I'll give it to you, and you can introduce the next couple of segments.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Tammy, and thank you to Taylor as well. I'm always so impressed by our youth, and there's a lot of realities out there right now with youth only have the option of manual labor if they can find employment, and the fact that we're giving them professional development and now producing credits to have that on a resume is blowing my mind. And I have a 12-year-old. I cannot wait for him to be in our youth organizing program. So I encourage you to reach out to your elected officials and make sure Earn and Learn stays around, because it's been very powerful at SOC. With that said, I would like to go ahead and introduce our next segment. We're going to have Marlene Duran, our coronavirus coordinator, and her segment coming up next. Is Marlene with us? Hi, Marlene.
Hi, everyone. So I'd like to start off by saying marhaba, which means hello in Arabic. Another way that you can say hello is you can say salamu alaikum, which means peace be upon you. It's a common phrase that we kind of just use every day when we're saying hello to each other. Saying marhaba is more like a formal way of saying it. So that being said, I'd like to go on and introduce our guest for today. Her name is Mandi Degner. She is a mental health provider at Walker's Point Community Clinic. Let me see. That's Mandi. Hi, Mandi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So today's topic, we're going to talk about mental health and COVID-19, especially the economic crisis that's happening right now with COVID-19. And we know that can cause a lot of distress for some individuals. Can you go ahead and talk about some of the mental health resources at Walker's Point Community Clinic and what they have to offer?
Sure. So Walker's Point Community Health Clinic is a free clinic for individuals who do not have health insurance. So if you are without health insurance, it's a place where you can get healthcare as well as mental health care. So there are 3 mental health professionals there, myself and 2 other women who work with primarily Spanish-speaking individuals. And I work with English-speaking individuals and families.
Awesome.
And there is a group that is held for women in Spanish that is for relaxation and stress relief. I'm not sure when the next one is, but I know that they are in the middle of one right now. So.
Okay, and I have more information from you on a later time.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. That's a lot to offer. And then, and is it free for individuals? Correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, how have you seen the economic crisis right now during COVID-19? How have you seen it happen? With patients that you've seen, what kinds of stories can you give us to kind of give everybody a picture? And I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going through this right now, but for those that, that are going through this, it gives more of a community that you're not alone, that, there are people that are going through this as well. So if you can kind of talk about the different types of stories you have for us.
Sure. I think that one of the biggest things that I've noticed is that the longer that this goes on, the deeper the impact it has become. And obviously the more it's starting to really affect people's mental health very profoundly, and starting to feel like this despair, or when is this going to be, when are things going to get better? For example, one of the ways in which I've seen it really economically hurt people is in families that are, they were a 2-income household, and then schools were canceled or put online. And then if they have young children, they can't leave their children home alone to do school. So one parent has to be with their kids. So I've seen a lot of parents who've had to either take a leave of absence from work, or in some cases have had to quit their jobs altogether to be at home so that their kids can still continue to do school.
Wow. You have a
And then-
story of an
Yeah.
woman or individual?
So in one case, I'm working with a family who mom had to quit her job because their son has special needs and is physically and cognitively disabled, and would go to school for a couple of hours a day, and that was the time mom would work out of the home for a little while. She would also, that was when she would do her grocery shopping and things like that. And it was a lot for her, like, just to have that respite and that care that was provided through school for her son. And now, because all school is virtual and it's not conducive for her son, who is in a wheelchair and has disabilities, that to do online school, it's just not something he can do. So she is continuing to have to stay at home, and her husband works, and because there's only one income and they don't have health insurance or other resources, they've not been able to afford to have anyone come in and do home health or respite care for their son. So she's been at home since March 17th with her son, and while she loves him very much, it's really, really hard for her because there's no end in sight. And then there's also for her, it's just well, she needs help, but
Right.
it's not something that's accessible.
Right. And then a lot of people are facing a one-person household income right now, especially with everything that's going on. So many people are essential workers, and they, got to keep their jobs, but other people are not, and they lost their jobs just due to the fact that their org or their business just does not offer funding for that.
Right.
And of course, there is, unemployment income that individuals can apply to, but there's always a need. So is there anything else you'd like to share about any other stories that you'd like to share about that?
Another thing that's been highlighted too by the pandemic is that a lot of us who have the privilege of having having housing, having a job, being able to continue working, is that folks who were homeless prior to the pandemic and had been working on finding employment, finding housing, the pandemic put that all came to a screeching halt. So if they had unstable housing and they lost it because they were unable to pay their rent, and they were evicted, or they were already homeless, it's been very, very, very hard to find any housing. And so it's been, people have been, one family that I've worked with has been living, from a relative to their car, and then they'll go and live with another relative when they overstay their welcome. But while they're trying to find housing, it's just really hard.
Oh, wow. That's really hard.
Mm-hmm.
Can we talk about if anything that you've noticed regarding how society and economy works? Have you seen a increase in the reliance of, women within our society today when you look at COVID-19 and the pandemic?
Definitely. So one of the things that I've noticed is that, and there's also been research that has confirmed this, is that a lot of women who have families, they've been the ones who have been expected to stay at home, be the caregivers. They're often the ones who are doing the unpaid work that is essential, such as cleaning, laundry, and childcare. And even if those are paid employment, they're often paid very, very poorly. So if we think about hospitals and schools and hotels and things like that may have remained open, that's the workforce has been largely female that are doing the childcare. So people who do still have their jobs and are relying on childcare centers, most of those providers are women. And it's a very, very hard job. There's a lot of exposure to the virus too, and it's very underpaid.
Right. So frontline workers are majority women, so such as women in retail and women such as nurses. They're
Nurses,
going
home health, community health workers.
Right. They're the ones being impacted the most because they got to go to work and then they have to come home and they have to take care of all of this stuff at home as well. Of course, there are, spouses that, and we're not saying all spouses don't, but there are spouses that do help out, and it's very like a fair, like a fair share of who does what. But, in many cases, especially, with some of our immigrant populations and our social norms of being very reliant on, the woman's role in being a caretaker, it can have an impact on women in general. So,
right.
And that can definitely impact their mental health on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm. And the large majority of single parent households are single moms.
Right.
So single moms are doing those jobs as well. They're doing the ones that are, their frontline jobs, their retail, their nursing assistants, their home health aides, or like in-home health care workers. And they're still expected to work, but then there are not as many options for their children either, like summer camps or, the availability of childcare is greatly reduced. So they're still needing to provide for their families, but with less resources.
Right. Yes, that's a huge impact on everyone's daily life. And what kinds of steps do you think someone can take to try to balance all of that at once?
A lot of what, I've been talking with people about is like literally like reaching out for the help that you have, if it's family members or neighbors. A lot of with the schools starting virtually, some of the individuals that I know they've been getting together with another family, and like if their work schedules can allow, like, the kids go over there to their neighbors and they do school that day, and then the next day they come over and do school at their house, and just so that there's a little bit of a balance, so that not everybody's doing everything by themselves all the time, because we do still need each other.
Right. And are you seeing like these people that are going over to each other's home, they're kind of like family members and they're seeing each other since the pandemic started?
Yeah. So it's not like increasing their exposure to, right, but they're people that like we have all had to balance this risk of like, okay, who am I going to be around? Are there a select number of people that I'm willing, like, that we know are not going out and being with a lot of other people. So it's like there's an agreement between these, like, for example, for me, it's my siblings, and they have children. So it's like I know that they're not going out and being, with a lot of other people. So it's like they're the selected, 5 or 6 people that I've chosen to have contact with.
Right, kind of like a commitment between all of you that you only see each other, and you're going to maintain distance from other individuals.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you for that information. Again, like it's important to take care of your mental health. And Mandi actually agreed that she would like to come on our forum once a month. So she's going to be giving us a little mental health update, and we're going to be talking about various topics relating to mental health that have been impacted by COVID-19. So thank you so much, Mandi, for coming on, and thank you for dedicating your time with us.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. All right, now I'm going to give it back to Andrea.
Thank you, Marlene. That was an incredible segment. I'm so thankful that we get to have Mandi on as a regular guest. Also, just want to let everybody know, for our viewers at home, if you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to drop it in the comments. We want to hear from you. It might relate to some of the topics you heard today or in the past. If not, we'll make sure that we make a new forum about that subject if we can get that answer for you and get a guest on to find the answer. Also, if you have a friend that you think would benefit from today's show, feel free to tag their name in that comments or share the show with them, because we want to make sure that, you know, our information that we get for you today goes out to as many people as possible. And we want to make sure that our city stays strong during this trying time. With that said, Tammy, I think it's time to introduce Gabe Charles, our Civic Engagement Manager.
It is. Hello.
Hi, Gabe. How are you?
I'm good, Dre. It's good to see you and Tammy together. Love it. But yeah, hey, everybody. It was really cool to hear from Taylor earlier and to hear about how, you know, I'm the Civic Engagement Manager. So it's always really cool to hear about the civic work that the youth is doing, in addition to all the other amazing things that they do. They truly are incredible. And it just made me want to give a special shout out to our other canvassers as well, our adult canvassers who have been with us through the thick of this quarantine and election seasons and census time. So I just wanted to shout them all out. Between the youth canvassers and the adult canvassers, we've made over 20,000 calls in the last couple months, and they're just on it, getting hung up on sometimes, getting yelled at sometimes, but really doing their part to make sure that people are getting information that they need about elections and the census. So I just want to shout out Ana Rodriguez, Stacy Carlos, Javier Acevedo, and Paulina Santos, who are our current canvassers, just for all of the amazing work that they are doing and for being dedicated to this cause. Some of them make almost 400 calls during their shifts. Ana Rodriguez has made 396 calls in one day before. Javier has made 368 calls in a day before. Like, this is a lot that they're doing, and we're really thankful to have them. So I just wanted to give that special shout out to you all who are making those calls and making sure people get info and talking to residents, right? A lot of people really enjoy those calls. And so it's really cool that we have you all to do that. So thank you always for your work. Something else I want to announce, I'm sure many of you have been hearing about these proposed cuts to the United States Postal Service and how that is threatening democracy, especially as people are trying to ensure they stay safe and vote by mail. The Postmaster General did announce that they will postpone these proposed cuts until after the election, which means the battle is not over, obviously, because these cuts shouldn't happen anyway. But this is a small victory for us that are really trying to get people to vote by mail. And it's a victory of the people, truly, because this would not have happened if it wasn't for folks calling their representatives, emailing their representatives, signing petitions, sharing information about what's going on. So this is truly a victory from all of you that have been contacting those folks and signing those petitions. So thank you for doing that work. Again, the battle is not over. It's never over, but at least we know that these cuts won't happen before the election so that voting by mail can stay relatively protected until the next thing happens, right? So that's good news. Thank you, everyone. And just, again, this is just another small example of what it means to be engaged civically year round and not just during an election. It's contacting your representatives when things like this happen that are threatening democracy. So just another small example of civic engagement and ways that you can be engaged in those political processes outside of things like just voting. And with that, I'm going to bring on our guest from the Census Bureau today, Ricardo Suarez Alcala, who's going to talk to us, give us some updates, and let us know about some current response rates.
Good afternoon. I am very honored to be back on the program. One more
We are
week.
very happy to have you back.
Yes. So let's start really quick. So right now, nationwide, there's a 63.9% participation nationwide. So we have about 1/3 more that we need to reach out. That's in terms of the nation. In terms of the state, Wisconsin is currently number 2 in the entire nation. We have a 70.3%, but we have lots of work to do yet. To put it in perspective, in 2010, the final number for the census was a 73.5. We were number 1 in the entire nation, but it was a 73.5%, which leaves 1 in every 4 people that didn't participate, which, like we were talking last week, that is money that the city, the village, the town, the county, the state loses. Okay. So now, in terms of the Milwaukee County, the current rate is at a 65.8%. In 2010, it was a final number was 68.9. So we're very close. However, it's still a low number. We want to get as close to 100 as possible.
And that was Milwaukee County, you said?
Yes, that's
the county as a whole.
The current number, the current rate for the Milwaukee County. So we still have some work to do, especially in the city of Milwaukee, and that's the next number.
Right.
So right now we have a 58.3%. The number changed like an hour ago. So we're at a 58.3. In 2010, the final number was 64.2. So we're a little bit behind, but there's so much going on right now from the enumerators, mobile questionnaire assistance. So there's a lot going on. So we're hopeful. And with these videos, hopefully the people that is watching are able to share with their family members, with their friends, with just everybody on their Facebook page. So we're able to get that to a 100% if it's possible. Okay, so those are the numbers for nation, 63.9, state 70.3, second place, county 65.8, and then the city 58.3. Okay, so we have some work to do to catch up. So that's in terms of the numbers. One of the initiatives that the census is currently working, it's what it's called a mobile questionnaire assistant. That is basically a person who took an oath, who is a census worker that took an oath that is available for people to, if people want to complete their census, they don't want to fill out the paper questionnaire, they don't want to spend a lot of time on the phone, on the national phone number that it's given. That's people living in Milwaukee, okay, that are hired by the census and that are available on English. We have Spanish speakers and we also have Hmong speakers, okay? So that is available. So I'm encouraging the leaders, not only in the city of Milwaukee, but everywhere in Milwaukee County, that if they have any activities coming up, whether it's a farmer's market, whether it's a concert, for example, just to give an example, there are some concerts going on with limited people in Kenosha and Racine. So we have an MQA there, just even in the parking lot, if that's what we need to do to reach out to the people. Census can take about maybe 9-10 minutes. So that way you're done. You complete your civic duty, and then you're done. You do your part. The same with churches, supermarket. It could be even a corner store that gives us the opportunity to be in the front of the store, just trying to reach out to the people.
So how will they be marked? So will they have a big census sign? Do they have shirts? I know they have their badges, just to give people an idea of what they look like if they want to approach those.
So for example, so for example, let's say the library tells us if you want to come next Tuesday and be available from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., They will probably bring their tablecloth, so there will be they will have their badge and everything, so the people know that it's a real census worker and not somebody
Great.
that it's just. So that's why we're encouraging those trusted voices within our communities. Like I said, it could be a church, it could be a corner store, it could be a gas station.
Yeah.
There are some small villages that the only thing that the people have in common it's maybe a gas station, a bank. So then that's where we are going to reach out. And like I said, we have so many different languages. So if you that are watching these know of anybody, any activities coming up in the city of Milwaukee, West Allis, Wauwatosa, you name it, wherever that you're watching this and want to have a census representative available just in case, just like with the recruiting, they were in different activities,
Yeah.
providing flyers and giving people the information they needed, and it's just the same process. And if they want to complete their census, they'll provide their information, and with 10 minutes you'll probably be done with that.
Perfect.
Okay?
So you heard it, everybody. If you know of a place that you think that the census mobile questionnaire folks should be at, why don't you comment it and we can get that information to Ricardo and to make sure that they are there in those locations that you all think are important. Ricardo, thank you so much. Do you have anything else you'd like to add? Otherwise, I'm sure we'll have you on next week again.
No, probably next week. The topic that I'm thinking of it's about potentially the same mobile questionnaire assistance, but specifically in those lower tracts, because it could be the city of Milwaukee, but there's specifically areas where there are some of those lower tracts, so we can target those and get those numbers up.
Perfect. Yeah, and we've gone over those hard to count tracks various times on the forum, so that will be a great topic to dive into specifically for next time.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. And
Thank
I look forward to be back next week.
Awesome. Take care. All right, folks, you have it. I will pass it back over to Drea and Tammy now.
Thank you so much, Gabe, and I'm excited to have Ricardo back on very soon. I know, Tammy, I'm not satisfied with just 60% of intake. We need to get those numbers up. Thankful to Camila right now for adding in a location. I know I have a location for an event soon. Also, just wanted to say hi real quick to Maria and Diana. I'm so glad you have some youth in mind. Thank you so much. Please send them forward. We want to make sure that we're reaching out and supporting all the families as possible. I do want to let everybody know that we do have a survey. The link will be in the comments. A lot of our show and decisions we make and the support we give our residents is through that survey. So please fill it out. We would love to hear from you. Even if you've done it before and you have a new update about how you feel about today's show, it's like it takes you 2 minutes to fill out. It's very quick. And we would love that for our records and for our funders. Coming up next week, Tammy, I'll go into that unless you can think of anything else.
No, I'll close out after you share that.
Awesome. So it's coming up next week. It's going to be an incredible show. I'm so excited. Our 100th episode Zoom Fiesta. There is a link in the comments. We will share with you if you want to be a VIP guest. We're going to have some incredible guests from former forums coming on as well. And we'll be live streaming it that day. And you'll also be getting a commemorative SOC mask if you live in our SOC district. So we'll have that info for you in the comments. And always, we give solidarity to our protesters and families, and thoughts and prayers are definitely with any families impacted by COVID-19. We are here for you always. Please do not hesitate to reach out to us.
And Andrea is helping us to coordinate our celebration. So if you have any questions, you can reach her and her information can be shared there in the comments. And you want to do that right away, folks. We only have so much room. And we're giving out our face masks as supplies last, and they're going already. So you want to take care of that right away. It only takes a few seconds. All right, folks, I want to thank Andrea for moderating with me or co-moderating with me. We want to say hello to Maria Poradek because we did not get to say hello to her earlier, and I see that she sent us a hello. With that, we want to thank you all, and we'll leave you with a thank you for our funding partners. Be safe.
Hello, SOC viewers. I'm Kimberly. I'm a youth organizer with SOC. We would like to thank everyone for supporting our 3 o'clock with SOC live show and for completing our SOC survey. In addition to thanking our residents for tuning in and sharing our show, we would also like to thank the following sponsors: Wisconsin Voices Community Development Block Grant, Neo Philosophy, State Infractional Fund, Movement Voter Project, Catholic Pageant for Human Development, Zipper Foundation, City of Milwaukee Office of Violence Prevention, Ties Foundation, City of Milwaukee Promise Zones, all of the faithful individuals who supported SOC through their personal donations. Thank you.